Very good morning to all. It is indeed a great privilege to speak to you, and I'm sure that today's deliberation will go a long way in ensuring the water quality in rural areas. Uh, Friends, this is we all know that there was a lot of emphasis, and we have come quite far when we are talking about the water quality in rural areas. Now, earlier when we started the mission, we used to have numbers once a year, and in review meetings, states would give us information that they have tested X, Y, Z places, and we would not know what villages and what type of samples, etc. From there, we have come to a situation where we have data of almost all the samples that are being tested in rural areas, that is available online, that is available to all the state government district officers, and also to our research organizations, partners, etc. And with some innovation, we are also trying to communicate this result to the community. And I'm very happy that today, in this year, we have tested almost 53 lakh samples in labs, and it has been tested from more than 5 lakh villages. This number used to be in 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 1.5 lakh, and even then, even that number we didn't know that it was actually tested or not tested. Now, for each village, we have people who are collecting samples, registering them, and then the results are being shared. So this robust infrastructure is already there. The FTK that is being used at field locations, the testing from that also is being recorded. And we see that about testing has also increased to almost 5 lakh villages. And we are not shy in reporting the contaminated samples and taking remedial action. In fact, that also is being shown on our dashboard. So this we have already got. We have gotten here. But I think there are a lot of things that needs to be done to assure the water supply that is being envisaged through pipelines under Jal Jeevan Mission to be safe and reliable. So there is earlier our protocols for water quality testing included testing from hand pumps, then testing from wells. These community assets which were used in villages for drinking. Now, if we have shifted to a pipe water supply system where we have a secure source, a closed network, then how do we ensure safe water, and can we? What type of testing that would require? Is there a recalibration that is required? And how we empower our communities to assure that because in Jal Jeevan Mission we are emphasizing that BWSC would be the managing the in-village infrastructure and rural water supply. So how do we empower them, and how we empower our consumers so that they have confidence on this water? So this is the broad context in which we are talking about. And for this purpose, we have constituted a technical group, which Dr. Sundar Rajan has described in the beginning. And in the first meeting, we thought that this group should provide suggestions on these two broad aspects. One is finalizing the SOP protocol of testing. So what parameters, when, what intensity, those things we need to know. And second is the how do we report remedial, how do we improve our remedial action? How do we improve the community participation awareness? How do we enable the information sharing a little bit more? In fact, I'm really happy that with this group that we have constituted, and with some prior discussion with INREM Foundation, they gave a very bright idea that we are testing so much, but we are not really making it available to the community. We have information of water quality testing in that village, but maybe it goes to the public engineering department, or the person who has actually submitted the sample, he gets it. We don't know whether community gets it or not. So for that, we have built this idea, and we have now a citizen corner that I will present to you towards the end of my talk. And I think so. With this, I'll just simply list down what exactly we mean in finalizing SOP protocols and etc. And for information sharing and using data for better action. So in the working group one, the first thing that what sources to be covered. So when we have a pipe water supply system in village, 100% households are getting water, and we are reasonably sure that the water that they are drinking is from tap. Then in that case, how we should how we should decide that which source to be tested. Should we continue to test the existing sources, or who will decide that whether to continue or not? So those things. Then what would be the frequency of sample, frequency of intensity, how often we should test sources for surface water sources, for groundwater sources, and so for small habitations, for big habitations, what would be those things. Then we would also like to know that what parameters we should test at source and at delivery point. Our protocol says that at source we should test all parameters, all chemical parameters at least once, and bacteriological parameter twice in a year. That is what CPHU manual says. But they are almost silent about what we have to do at the delivery point. So now we have a pipe water supply system. So do we need to test the chemical parameters that often, or we should only test the bacteriological or related parameter, for example, residual chlorine, or some other parameters like turbidity that may change over a period of time? And at what points we should test? So which household we should select? Should it be a random system, or should that household be identified so that there is a accountability that can be ensured? And for X test we should use lab, or we should use FTK. Those things also we need to think about, because there is a capacity that is there, that is available in the labs. And I will present you the how the habitation profile looks like in country, and maybe that can be a input for our process, that how effectively we use the existing system of 2,111 laboratories and FTK based testing. Then what are the gaps in reporting systems in the present WQMIS? What are the gaps that are existing already? And should there be a should there be a performance kind of criteria for labs as well in terms of turnaround time? Because we are expecting that it will be the citizens who will also be monitoring the water quality on their own. They may take the sample to the lab, unless until we allow that. The citizens will not have confidence on our water supply system. We may continue to say that our water is the best, but unless until a citizen has freedom to test that water whenever they want, they would not really trust our claims. So in that case, the labs are also providing services to the citizens. So should there be a reasonable turnaround time that they get the results done in a, let's say, 48 hours or 24 hours, or what should be that number? So that also I think may be deliberated. Then what should be, this is I think pretty standard guidelines for sample collection. And so this is basically coming from the field that many states struggle that who will collect the sample? Will it be the community? Will it be the a person attached to lab, or will it be a person under the executive engineer? Who will be that person who will collect the samples, and how we will operationalize it? So this is related more towards that. In the working group 2, basically we wanted to talk about that how we incentivize the community, if we can incentivize the community in sample collection, and also share the results with the community. Then what should be the institutional mechanism to inform the Gram Panchayat and VWS? So should all the tests that are being done in a village, should all of the data of all the tests should go to the Sarpanch or members of Pani Samiti on a SMS, or in a form of report, or in a form of annual report? We don't, those things. Then how do we encourage citizens to get their water tested? Of course, demonstration of testing by Asha, Pani Samiti, I think mobile labs, I think this is very effective. We have seen in Chhattisgarh and in Haryana and many places that taking a mobile lab and keeping it and testing and announcing results then and there gives a lot of boost to the awareness and confidence on the water supply. And then the protocol of remedial action and turnaround time. So here also I think a lot of details would be required. that for what type of remedial, what are the typical remedial issues that we find in water quality, and what could be the based on the practical issues at field, what would be that approximate remedial action time that we can do. And these are the slides. I think this I will not take much time on, and I think Sundar and Navneet will discuss about these things in much detail. So these are the broad things for. So we thought that for surface water, for groundwater, and for bacteriological testing, for these physical, chemical, and bacteriological parameters at source, these could be typically the parameters that we would like. And if we are able to control these parameters in today's context, then I think we should be very fair. It will be a pretty good claim that we are supplying a safe water. Similarly, some protocols at delivery point, whether we should the question that I talked, that whether we should test all the parameters at delivery point as well. I think that maybe because that involves cost, that involves logistic issues, and again too much testing also does not really mean that we are doing the good testing. So the accuracy, etc., also play a very important role. So from the sampling point of view, from the point of view of operational difficulties, I think decision on this, consensus on this also will be very useful. Then this I discussed that please decide on what parameters at source, what parameters at delivery point. Then frequency of testing. Source, will it be all right if we continue once and twice as it is mandated in CPHEO? And these parameters should be tested in labs, district level labs, or block level labs, or how we should do that. And at delivery point also, I think this point I made, and there also. So this is how our habitations look like. So I analyzed the IMIS data. So between 0 to 20 household, we have about 4 lakh habitations, and they constitute. So in terms of percentage of habitation, they are 24%, but they relate to only 2% of the households. Then up to 50 is about 27, again 27% habitations, but again 8% of households. Between 51 to 100, this is the number where we have 12% of households and 19% habitation. And 100 to 500, so typically around 100 household, typically around 2500 populations. So this is 100 to 500 is slightly large habitations, almost like a village. And they constitute about over 50% of the households and 26% of habitation numbers. And then more than 500 is of course only 4%, but 28% of household. So this is how how the village and habitations are organized. So if you think that if you want to test one sample from each habitation, every year or every quarter at delivery points. So when we decide about delivery points, I think these are the numbers we have to keep in mind and do some calculations. Yesterday I was trying to do, and it was coming around that if we test one sample per household up to 500 and beyond 500 two samples, then it was the load on district level was coming about 2500 samples per year. So those calculations has to be done here. Yeah. Then we have one vague definition of pre and post monsoon. So both are for source and for delivery point. What would be that period? And it will also, the definition will also be linked to how many samples we want to take at delivery points. So those things also needs to be delivered. So these are the some of the points that I thought I will just quickly share, and maybe this will form a background for you to discuss and deliberate and provide your inputs on. I'm seeing that we have very good panel here. We have practitioners, we have people from academia, people who are working in lab, people who have implemented water supply and managed water supply. So I think a lot of good inputs will come, and I'm sure that I assure you that all the input that you give, we really want it. We are really struggling to get it, and all these inputs will definitely go in our advisory to the states in making the policy for safe and assured water for rural household. And I think in next few years, once our works are completed, and we are talking about efficiencies, service delivery standards, I think those things will be talked only when we have this thing right today that we are discussing. And now I will just share the citizen corner because that's a very interesting thing, and I think that will also interest you a lot. Allow me a moment. I will just share this thing. Yeah. So you are all are aware about the JJM dashboard. So here on the top right corner, we have top left corner, we have provided this citizen corner. So this citizen corner basically provides the direct access to the water supply situation in village. So since focus on is on quality, the first thing we are keeping that first tab is water quality itself. But you can also know about what is the status of pipe water supply scheme, what is the village profile, and who are the people who are engaged to manage this supply in terms of Pani Samiti members, Gram Panchayat members, and things like. So I'm just taking you an example from Andhra Pradesh. Okay, there is some problem. I think, yeah, it's loading. There is some problem with the network. So here, what we have done is for every village, we have provided the information about what are the tests that are done earlier, and also what is the latest status of the test and whether water is safe or not. So that screen comes here, and so based on that, citizen can be slightly assured about the water quality, even if they have not tested their sample, even if they have not tested their particular water sample from his house, but they can get an idea about what is the water supply situation in the village. It's a very interesting tool. I think there is some glitch. Maybe after an hour, and I will request maybe Navneet to show you to you all later. I think there is some glitch here. Yeah. हेलो, मैं थोड़ी देर बाद बात करूं? So yeah, it started working. So this village in Andhra Pradesh, Aluri Sitaram Raju district, there are 44 the samples have been tested 44 times in this week. And if I click here, I get what are the dates and whether for what parameter it was tested and whether it was safe or not. So that list we get, and this is the latest sample. So last sample was tested in April, and for bacteriological parameter, it was tested in 4th of November last month. And I can also download the report, but I also see the broad highlights here. So if I click here and if I allow, then I can download the PDF as well. So this is regarding the water supply. And so I had yesterday I was going through and I found the example where we have the water was not safe in Anand district. I think it was some. Yeah. So in this village for Anand district, the water was tested for chemical contamination, and it was found that it is unsafe, and it is unsafe for nitrate. So the limit for nitrate is BIS limit, acceptable limit is 45, where it was found to be 86, which is quite high. So and now we are also giving the status of remedial action that it is not taken. Please contact state helpline number or book your grievance. So we are also empowering citizens that they can force the authorities to take remedial action if it has not been taken already. So this is, I think, a good part, and Sundar and his team is also working to inbuild some kind of AI and Bhashini system, so that it can also become multilingual and even more easier, and then they can also know more information about water quality test. So this I thought that we will share with you. And so with this background and what we have done so far, I think a very important step towards a pipe water supply would be to fix these protocols and fix these numbers and fix the sharing of information formats, freeze it, institutionalize it, so that we are pretty sure that our water that is being supplied through taps in rural areas is safe. So thank you so much. I will not take much time, and I will be participating throughout the day, and we'll be happy to see more developments and good input that will come from all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you.